Tomorrow on TV AM, meet Britain's most glamorous zookeeper when Diane Keane lives out her fantasy. There's more glamour when the other half of the other half, Lorraine Chase, South London's answer to Joan Collins, joins Diane live in the studio. And of course, you can meet the last of the Nicotine 9, who've joined the great TV AM Stub It Out campaign. Those are just some of the highlights tomorrow on TV AM.
From Sunday, March the 4th, the neglected art of British cookery is being restored to its former glory. Each week, for 8 weeks, the Observer magazine is savouring the culinary heritage of a different part of Britain. The traditions, the food, the recipes, the drink. The Observer Guide to Food from Britain. Part 1 is served this Sunday.
14.5, £15,000 sold. This fine painting from a Devon farmhouse sold for £15,000. You may have a picture like it in your attic, or items like these worth £40 or £50 each. But whatever their value, their best price is at auction. It pays to get expert advice. I give free valuations every Wednesday, or will call on you by appointment. Details and brochures from me at Plymouth 669298.
In tomorrow's look at what's ahead on the entertainment scene in the Southwest, Julie Spires introduces Persian-born singer Shusha, who's giving recitals in the region. Julie also features the Devon Young People's Dance Company with a look at their impressive footwork. Artist Patrick Woodruff has illustrated a fascinating new book, which Julie looks at. And by the way, David Rogers is back too in What's Ahead at 6:30 tomorrow.
Canada's Bill Werbanyuk, starved of snooker success lately, makes his bid for the Yamaha title tonight. But this young man, Neil Foes, is regarded by the experts as a major prospect. He beat the Larder sensation John Parrott to qualify. Could this be his night? Join us later tonight.
And that's right after, of course, tonight's TSW late news. But now over to ITN in London for the National News at 10.
The government gives £250 million for the Airbus. French say soccer hooligans cost £700,000. Unions admit they've lost the battle at GCHQ. How the Red Cross keep Beirut alive. How Bob Champion came back to win the National. Good evening. The government is lending British Aerospace £250 million to help build a new European Airbus, which it's hoped will safeguard 6,500 jobs. British Aerospace will make the wings of the A320, a 150-seater short-haul jet. The rest will be built by partners in France, West Germany and Spain. Mr. Norman Tebbit, the Trade and Industry Secretary, wouldn't say when or how the government loan would be repaid, but warned the government would want a good return.
The decision means Britain can continue to be a major partner in Airbus industry, the European consortium that already builds the much larger A300 Airbus. The wings for this aircraft are already built in Chester, and today's decision means the expensive development work on the wings for the A320 will not have been wasted. British Aerospace will have a quarter share in the project, and it's hoped more than 700 of the aircraft will be sold during the 1990s. If the plane, seen here in simulation, is successful, Britain will share in the profits. If it turns out to be an expensive failure, like Concorde, it'll have to take its share of the losses. There were plenty of smiles after today's announcement, despite the fact that Mr. Tebbit initially had doubts about whether it was right for the government to put any money into the project, and despite the fact that British Aerospace had only got about 60% of the funding they'd asked for.
British Aerospace.
We see the 320 as one of the workhorses of the latter part of this century, an aircraft with a terrific market, not just for the growth in world airlines, but a replacement market as the older aircraft are replaced. And we wish BAE and your partner, Sir Austin, every success with the project. We look forward to the first flight. We look forward to the first deliveries. we look forward to our real rate of return on our investment.
Well, Secretary of State and ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be here this afternoon to say that as a result of the Secretary of State's announcement this afternoon on launch aid for the A320, that BAE will now be playing its full part in this project.
But American competition, notably the new Boeing 737, is going to be fierce. The Americans have made no secret they'd like to see Airbus out of business and will undercut prices to do it. A firm commitment from European airlines to buy European may be the only way that thousands of jobs in British aerospace can be completely guaranteed, and Mr. Tebbit's hoped-for return on his £250 million a real one. Giles Smith, News at 10 with British Aerospace.
French police now estimate that England football fans did more than £500,000 worth of damage on their trip to last night's so-called friendly match in Paris. On the way, about 300 fans rampaged through the Sea Link ferry to Dunkirk, and on the dockside they played dodgems with a line of brand new Leyland cars. The fighting and destruction continued on the train to Paris. MPs of all parties call the troublemakers thugs and football animals. The Prime Minister said they were a disgrace to the country.
Both the government and, I believe, honourable and right honourable members on all sides of the House would condemn the appalling behaviour of a small minority of the visitors